Okay, we should now officially be live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Two Player Podcast. I mean, I'm sure anybody watching already knows what we're going to be talking about this week, but before we get into it, Ham, how have you been? What have you been playing? What's been up?
Uh, been tired. Been crazy tired, really. I've been playing some games for sure. RoboCop, getting back into that. Me and you were playing some Remnant,
Mm-hmm.
2K, the finals. Yeah, playing all types of different games. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
dude.
I mean, Power World definitely been playing some of that. Uh, Nothing too new from the last time that we've spoke.
Mm. I'll tell you, there's something I started playing recently, and I'm not really into it right now. I'm still very much focused on finishing Death Stranding, but I just booted it up. It is Prince of Persia 2008, and this game feels like a fever dream. I don't remember this game ever existing. I don't remember it ever releasing, and I just saw it for like super low price on Steam, and I was like, okay, sure. And I picked it up, and I started playing. I'm like, this is. I'm pretty sure it's Nolan North because it sounds like Nathan Drake is doing the voice of the main character. It sounds like Nathan Drake 100%. And it's third person. It's like really, really cool combat. And if I don't know, it just it feels like something that didn't happen. It came out like 2008. I didn't even know that. But I've been playing that, Death Stranding, mostly. What else? A little bit of Dragon's Dogma, uh, but not really. And then finals, Halo Firefight, because that's been fantastic. And that's pretty much what I've been playing. I mean, I don't think there's anything really else. Oh, NBA. That hasn't really changed from last week or the week before, and it's not going to change anytime soon. So that's what we've been playing. But let's get into the actual topic today, because I mean, it's a fucking it's a juicy one, and that is Xbox. Um, the community basically melting down over the weekend, just completely deteriorating. Within a matter of like 48 hours over this past weekend, and there's lots of theories on this. And it comes from people who would know more about the situation than I would. But before we get into all that, Ham, I mean, where were you? Where were you Sunday morning when all these rumors broke?
Where were you when they built the ladder
To heaven.
to hell?
Oh yeah, right. That's for this situation. Yeah, absolutely.
um, I mean, where was I? I was at home, not
Yeah.
sleeping. But yeah, I was at home listening to all the discourse, watching everything go down, watching people freak out, have really bad times and everything like that. And some of it I'm just like over exaggerated, but I don't know because none of us know.
Yeah, not, and that's the thing. And none of us know anything about this, but it's. I was gonna say it's fun to speculate. It's not really fun to speculate in this scenario.
Not this situation.
Not
No,
this
this
situation.
situation
It's not.
stinks.
But it's just like we're kind of left to speculate, and that's all we can really do. But I mean, of course, if you're unaware what we're talking about, I mean, obviously, Xbox, the third party rumors for Xbox, it started with Sea of Thieves and Hi Fi Rush being rumored, which I feel like everybody kind of came to the conclusion, or most people kind of came to the conclusion, fine, if you want to bring Sea of Thieves and Hi Fi Rush. And then over the weekend, a lot of stuff got leaked. Starfield, Indiana Jones, Gears of War, possibly. They're talking about Halo as well. So the leaks make it sound like, the whole slate. Vincent Vega in the chat, what's up? He says, after I platinumed God of War 3 on the weekend, I am too going for Death Stranding with Paper Mario Origami King to calm myself afterwards. Dude, if you haven't played Death Stranding, I played like 90% of the way through the original when it came to Game Pass PC, and now I'm playing the director's cut. That game is just, it's amazing. That game is really, really amazing. So definitely enjoy that. Uh, but yeah, the third party Xbox rumors, it seems like, according to the rumors this past weekend, it would seem like the whole slate. And there's some theories out there, and I want to ask you your thoughts on this theory. I think we talked about it a little bit in the party chat last night. That do you think that it's possible that this was leaked by someone within Xbox who was hearing talks about all this and said, "Okay, I'm just gonna leak this, and we'll see what the community thinks about it," just to see if they could get a reaction?
I totally think that's a possibility. Really? You could have asked me anything right there,
Hmm?
and I would have just said, that's a possibility.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Like I just like at this moment, I'm in like a very, very much so of a trust nothing phase,
Hmm.
where it's just like anything that I read from anybody, whether it's Tom Warren, Kotaku, IGN, Jason Schreier, anybody. Right now, everybody's so scattered with their thoughts and their expectations that I just don't believe anybody right now until I hear the final word, because everything is just so up in the air
Yeah.
that there's some people saying, oh, you're just like looking into this too far. Some people are saying, oh, this is going to turn into, a handheld. Others are saying, oh, this is going to still be a console for the next generation, and they're just going to go third party. Others are just like, oh, they're going Surface. Like the Surface team is taking care of this, and it's just like all these just different directions and ideas, and some of them good, some of them bad, some of them make sense, some of them completely don't make any sense, some of them helpful, some of them detrimental. And it's just like I just
Yeah.
like it's just like you're throwing all these ideas at me, but you're not telling me any of them are like for sure, or and nobody's came out and backed up anything. The only thing that I feel is somewhat true is that there is a handheld at some point coming out, because the whole thumbs up with jazz thing you said from Phil Spencer.
Yep.
But other than that, I mean, sure, but they could do a handheld and still have a home console. So it's just like I don't know. Or
Yeah.
the handheld can be the home console, because I know a Steam Deck technically can be a home console. So it's just like I
True.
don't know. I
Yep.
just don't know.
I, so I want to ask, I mean, your thoughts on, and we've talked last week about when it was just Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves, but your thoughts hearing over the weekend Gears of War, Starfield, Indiana Jones, and if all those are true, then you would almost certainly assume that Blade as well is on that list of games coming to PS5. So, what do you think? Basically, the whole slate. What are your reactions if it's the whole slate? Speculation here.
If it's the whole thing, I am confused.
I'm right there with you,
I
quite
am
frankly.
$200 less rich.
Oh shit! What's that?
R- Remember the bet I made with Loke yesterday?
Oh shit! Yes.
If it's
Okay.
the whole slate, if it's the whole slate, I said I'd get the PlayStation Portal before my birthday.
God, that's
And I will
something.
still I will do that if it's the whole slate. And the thing is I'm not even excited about it. It's not like something I'm getting and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna use the hell of it. No. I'm probably gonna use it a little bit, but
Yeah, I
I'm
I
just
can't.
like something. I just wanted to give myself something to punish myself, but still be I collected something, I guess.
Sure.
But like, it's just a little bit of punishment that I'm giving myself
Yeah, I
for
mean,
for being a sucker for so long.
yeah. See, for me, I'm like, if it's the whole slate for me, I think you kind of summed it up perfectly there with the word confused. It would be confusing to release everything on on a competing platform. Uh, so the thing is, I don't think they'll release everything, especially with the way that people are acting as of late, as of the last 48 hours, I guess, where it's like you saw Jazz like tweet the other day is like, yeah, I think everybody's kind of freaking out a little bit too much over this. And then he also tweets stuff like, yeah, I'm not worried about this anymore. You also hear, whether you believe him or not, Vince Vega in the chat says, what if you get another portal for your birthday? Another
My wife
portal?
would never. My wife would never. My wife would never. My mom doesn't even know what a thing like that is, and I don't have any other people to buy me gifts. So, so, so I'll tell you right now that the portal is out of the question when it comes to somebody else getting it for me. That is a complete solo buy, and I'll only get it if I purchase it. Nobody else. That's not even on the the thought of anybody else. The only thing not my mom, my wife. The only thing my wife would want to get me that's that's PlayStation. For me for my birthday is the VR. That's the only thing that she knows that I would want from PlayStation. She knows she doesn't even know about the portal. I don't think because I don't talk about
I mean, yeah. And the thing is, why would you? Why would you talk about it? But I mean, hey, honestly, it'd be hilarious to see you get a PlayStation Portal. If I'm being honest, I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope that's not what happens. But I mean, if it does, that would be funny. Uh, let's see. Breaking. Whoa! I just logged onto Twitter here. I don't know. I don't know if this is legit or not. Uh, Game Pass tracker tweets. Breaking Game Pass
it. Game
news.
Pass Tracker stinks.
Okay, so yeah,
Game
we're good.
Pass Tracker, I wouldn't believe them 100%. If they're right, more
Mhm.
power to them. But I know Wandering Dutch got into a big argument with them last night,
Oh
and like
shit.
kind of like, and he kind of like called them out on something, and they just blocked him. They just
Okay,
flat out blocked him, and then a bunch
that's
of other
not
people
good.
jumped on and said, "Why would you block him unless you're lying? Like if you could tell the truth, if you were telling the truth, like why would you run? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?" So like some people are saying Game Pass Tracker right now is just looking for looking for
interaction,
interaction, yeah.
and that would make sense. That would definitely make sense. Uh, but yeah. So getting back to the whole topic and everything. I mean, like I said, there's so many different angles on this. You've had tweets from Jazz Corden. We've had the tweet from Phil Spencer, which really did nothing for anybody on Monday, which was, "Hey guys, we see you and we hear you." And how often do you hear that from Xbox? We see you and we hear you. And then this time they're like, "Hey, next week we got something for you." And who knows when next week? It could start the week. I would certainly hope it starts the week. I'll tell you that much, because I don't think we can wait till next week, like next Thursday. I don't think this can wait until then. So, but there's so many different rumors surrounding this. Like, obviously, the theory, like I talked about, that it was somebody internally who leaked this, hoping to get a reaction from the community. so that higher ups at Microsoft would then see what the reaction would be and maybe possibly reverse course. And if that's the case, if that's what's really going on here, then job well done, whoever leaked that,
Oh
because
yeah.
you got one hell of a reaction from the community. You got a lot of different reactions from the community. I mean, you had, and God bless him, you had Tim Dog out here just questioning everything.
Tim Dog just gave it up. Like he like this man got shook down. And absolutely like this man took off. He put his hands up, took his
Yeah.
shoes off.
He's
Bro said, "Let me see what's in them pants." And he's like, "You want to just have them? Just take them. Here's a shirt with it. It matches the
the
pants."
it,
Like this man got completely busted down.
yeah, it wasn't good, man. And like it's not just Tim, dude, it's so many people. So
Facts.
many people just beside themselves at the news, and it's like, and here's the thing, for me personally, I look at this news and I'm like, this is weird. Like I'm not having strong reactions either which way, but I'm just looking at it like this is weird. And there's a lot of that online as well, but just the sensationalism of many different people in the community, and then also throwing fire or throwing fuel on the fire is media outlets like I believe it was VGC talking about, dude, they threw up a picture of Doc Dark, and they're like, "Oh, Xbox faithful are announcing that they're leaving the platform." It's like, dude, why is that news? And then you had the one where we talked about it on your guys' show yesterday, from what was that, Kotaku, with like the whole thumbnail of like an asteroid, an Xbox asteroid hitting Earth, and like
Yeah.
it's just
They
like,
even brought up Mr. Boomstick on one of them and
dude,
was talking about his podcast where he is like saying that he couldn't sleep. He woke up at like 2 a.m. and couldn't get back to sleep because Xbox was in such bad like condition. And like, yo, that's sad for a lot of reasons.
yeah,
Um, but damn, like the news
it's
is running with it.
dude, the news is really running with it, like really leaning into it, and I don't know, how we go another week. Like I don't know how we go another however many days, hours, whatever it is until we hear something. I just, the way the community's acting now versus the way they're going to be acting in 5 days is just, it's a little bit scary.
Either way,
Um,
people are gonna feel stupid. They're either gonna feel stupid that they got all worked up or all angry about it and not too much happened,
mhm.
or they're gonna feel stupid for parading and saying this company is gonna, be, you know, the little engine that could and just runs over everything else in the industry. Um, it looks more evident than now about what Phil Spencer said about PlayStation not being the competition.
Yeah.
Looks more evident than ever that
Hmm.
that's the reality. And I just wonder how they're going to maneuver um telling everybody at once what they're doing without there either being like mass frustration from the confusion or flat out mass exodus from understanding what they're doing now, but them deciding to, flip the script completely.
Yeah.
If they
Oh,
flip the script completely, I could see just a mass exodus because there's a lot of people that are Xbox fans, but to a fault.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And what I mean by that is that they're Xbox fans until Xbox does something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And once they do something wrong, it's like, aha, gotcha. I'm out.
No, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So like
yeah.
there's a lot of folks out there that are, eager. Whether they want to admit it or not, but they're eager to get rid of their Xbox at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. Oh, whoa. What's this? Mike in the chat. I just saw you. Uh, said the thing that Matt was about to read is legit because it's a GameStop post. But it could also be a typo on GameStop's part. And the thing I was about to read from Game Pass Tracker. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Uh, was it breaking Game Pass news? It appears that Xbox is moving away from the Xbox Game Pass name, now called Microsoft Game Pass, according to this ad from GameStop's official Twitter account, as seen below. And it's just a GameStop post saying, "Come play, join us February 10th for Xbox Demo Day. Come play new Xbox games on Series X and S consoles, plus explore the benefits of Microsoft Game Pass." So, again, grain of salt, could just be a typo on GameStop's part. Who really knows? But yeah, I mean, to your point about people
Oh,
being,
just 1 second. I'll be right back.
yeah, okay. But to Ham's point about people being Xbox fans to a fault, I can totally see that. Back from the dead says, "I'm curious how many people are generally upset versus clowns going for clicks. I didn't play Destiny over a Halo rumor back in the day. Now it's my most played game of the decade." Yeah, I totally get what you mean by that. And yeah, you're right. At this point, it's just a rumor. It's just a rumor. And the thing is, like I mentioned earlier on the show, and we talked about a little bit, like the working theory here. I've seen Cult talk about it. I've seen Mag talk, and again, if you believe these people, that's up to you. But I've seen Cult talk about it. I've seen Mag talk about it. I've seen a few people talk about it who are in that circle who say that this was leaked by somebody within Microsoft. That it's not that it was definitively, but it's possible. It's very possible this was leaked by someone within Microsoft, hoping to get a reaction from the community. And if that's the case, like I said, they did get a reaction. But I would have to agree. I mean, right now it's just a rumor. Like it's hard for me to get upset. Even if this were to be true, it's hard for me to get very, very upset. But it's especially hard considering the fact that we have no solid statement from anybody right now. It's all just articles, Tom Warren. It's all, Windows Central articles. It's all rumors on podcasts. There's nothing definitive right now. So it's hard to get really upset either way at this. But I guess another question to ask you, and we touched pretty briefly on it on the show yesterday, was how do you think this affects I was going to say the industry, but we're going to go specifically PlayStation, if this turns out to be true? Do you think this is something that should be celebrated? Like, you're a PlayStation fan. Do you think this is something that a PlayStation fan should celebrate if this turns out to be true? And it's the whole slate. We're assuming whole slate. Oh, you're on mute.
In a way, yeah.
Okay.
In a way, you can celebrate the ability to have access to more games.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
seeing that you have had some stumbles within your own studios, right? So this year for PlayStation Studios, what game are they looking to drop first party?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You know what I'm saying? So if Xbox is saying, "Hey, we're going to put some games on your platform maybe this year or somewhere down the line," PlayStation can start looking at them the way they were looking at Square Enix, stuff like that, to where it's like, you're filling in my gaps.
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah.
Um, so in that way, yeah, a PlayStation fan can look at that as a total win. On the other hand, it's like, well, this doesn't exactly this doesn't exactly motivate this platform to be better than anybody else because there's nobody else out there now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's nobody else out there to like it's just like the way I look at EA with their football games right now.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
in the late 90s to early 2000s, Madden had to go out of their way to make sure that their games were fun, innovative, and taking chances.
Yeah.
Once they bought the license to the NFL, or once they acquired the license to the NFL, those games got abysmal.
Yeah.
They slowed way down. The the features that you got in the game it seemed like it was reset back to 2001,
Yeah.
to where it's like all the cool features that we had by '06, '08, 2011 um were just like reversed back to plain Jane, not a whole lot. And then on top of it, internet was heavily included into it. So it was just like, how can we make money off of this instead of how can we make this fun?
Yeah. Hard pivot.
So
Hard
I
pivot
could
after
totally see
2K5.
Sony doing the same thing and saying, you know what, we used to make fun games that have to compete with the other platform and say, oh man, this game is so good. Now they could just be looking at making games for profit instead of for fun. I mean, they're always for profit games, sure,
Yeah, absolutely.
but I could just see there being like a heavy lean on profit over
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I could see this. And oh, Nikita Percy, appreciate you for stopping by. Twank89, appreciate you as well stopping by. I could see this again under the assumption that the whole slate is going into PlayStation. This leads to maybe PlayStation looking back at those. We heard they canceled all those live service games. Maybe they can just go, you know what? Maybe we don't want to cancel those. Maybe we can just get back to production on those. What do we got? Do we throw everything out and get back to production? Because I mean, like you said, at that point, PlayStation's not really competing with anybody. And I said it on your guys' show yesterday. People can talk about, oh yeah, but Nintendo's still there. Nobody gets a Nintendo, like nobody swaps out their Xbox or their PlayStation for a Nintendo. They get a Nintendo with their PlayStation or their Xbox because it's an additive experience. The games you're playing on Nintendo probably aren't the games you're playing on your PlayStation or your Xbox. So they don't really have competition in that regards, and maybe that leads to them just being like you said, hey, let's build something that we can make the absolute most amount of profit on, and whatever that may be. Because here's the thing: the PlayStation games that I love, God of War, Last of Us, Uncharted, Ghost of Tsushima, the games that I love, I don't see those games flourishing under that PlayStation. If that is the PlayStation we get from the result of this whole thing. And a lot of things have to happen before we get there, but that's just one of the thoughts in the back of my head where it's like I don't want to see that PlayStation. And here's the thing, if that's the situation we're in, I'm probably done. uh what's funny is this would lead to me probably being done with PlayStation just inadvertently. just because they would have so much control on everything that if I need a console, I'd probably just buy the next Xbox or buy an Xbox as long as they have it, and I would make a full transition to PC. And then games that I can only play on console, like GTA 6, GTA 7, whatever the case may be, Red Dead 3, whenever the hell that comes out, stuff like that, I'll play it on Xbox. But I don't get thrilled when I think about that future of a PlayStation having no competition. Lady Foxfire, what's up? Appreciate you for stopping by. Uh, but there's also more rumors than just the whole Xbox going third party thing, and we'll probably get back to a little bit of that later in the show as well. But there's also rumors, lots of different people talking about, you know, you mentioned earlier Jez making the tweet about the Xbox handheld and Phil Spencer liking the tweet. And then you also hear people talking about, oh, I'm hearing that, 2026 is still the thing for Xbox for their next gen, and they'll have two SKUs, like they have the Series X and Series S right now. And then you also hear people saying that the lower SKU would also be, or could possibly be, a like Nintendo Switch like thing, where it's like you can take it on the go and you can dock it to your TV. And I want to get your opinion really quick on that before we go further. What would you think about? Would you be excited for an Xbox console that is like a Nintendo Switch? You can dock it, you can take it with you. Is that something you would be interested in?
Well, I mean, that's what I use my Steam Deck for right now. So to have something that's more native would probably be better for
Mm-hmm.
me in the sense of travel and whatnot.
Yeah,
I dare to ask how powerful something like that's going to be, right?
that's
And
interesting. Yeah,
and what the hell kind of dock is this going to be? If there's going to be some sort of dock in this, I have a bad experience with dock right now with Switch, right? Where it's
yeah,
just like this is fine. Right? Like this
yeah,
isn't great at all. This is just fine.
yeah,
Um I and the only wrong thing with the experience with the dock on the Switch is really just the resolution and uh and the and the FPS, right? It just looks it just looks extra big and kind of a little washed out when you
yeah,
put it on your TV compared to when you play it on your actual Switch. And even on your actual Switch, sometimes it even looks a little washed out.
yeah.
Um, Even if you have like the big nice OLED one with the bright colors and whatnot, it doesn't fix the frames or
Yeah, it doesn't give it HDR. It does not
yeah,
give
it
it HDR.
doesn't fix the problems that thing has. So it really, I'm just really interested. I mean, because one thing I know is Microsoft's not new to shrinking down a hardware, right? I mean, they have
Oh
the
yeah.
Surface, which has done great.
Hmm.
People always want to look past the Surface every time I bring that thing up. And I say, well, they don't, make gateway computers anymore, right? They make Surfaces,
Surface,
which are
yeah.
laptops now. They haven't completely left the computer game. They just make it accessible via something a lot smaller than like a home computer setup with a tower in it, right?
Hmm.
So maybe that's what they're thinking about doing with their consoles is like, oh, instead of making this console that just sits here and does nothing, and we're trying to get everybody that wants to be on the go and everything with this cloud gaming, remote play, and you know, just being more mobile in general. Maybe they're thinking, let's make a handheld that does that. My problem is if they make a handheld that doesn't download games and only does like Game Pass or something like that, I'm out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be a. If you're doing that, it has to be a full console. It can't be
It,
a half console.
right. It can't be a streaming device. It can't be anything like that.
Hmm.
So really, I'm I'm for it, but with a couple caveats.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I don't want to see a. No one needs a streaming device. There's so many different ways to stream your games right now. I don't think you need to waste money producing something that's entirely for sure. Kind of like the way I look at PlayStation with the Sony Portal. Like, I mean, you don't need that. It's not entirely necessary. But hey, you did it, and there you go. But like for this possible perspective console from Xbox, I mean, this would probably be, again, depending on power and everything. This would probably be the Xbox I get if this is a real thing. I'd probably get that and
No,
what's that?
if they make it like the Steam Deck, where it's like you have your main Steam OS, but then you can go behind the Steam OS into the actual like
Yeah,
operating
yeah.
system of Linux.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, now we have a Xbox OS, and you can go behind it and get into Windows. I think now we're possibly cooking.
Yes.
Now we're cooking with like fucking bacon grease, right? Like, and it is, that grease is popping.
Yeah.
like I think something like that sounds hot, right?
Yeah.
And I could dock it, and it does 4K 120 and stuff like that. That sounds fucking wild. And being able
Yeah.
to have like to turn it on and see, my whole thing that I don't like with my Steam Deck and how I put Windows on it is turning it on is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you
Like
have to like
turning it
switch
on,
through it.
it
Yeah.
shows the Steam Deck logo, and then it goes to the Microsoft logo, and then it logs in. And just like your computer, it needs like a couple seconds after it logs in to open up all these random things that you're just gonna fucking close. And then you turn on the Xbox thing, and then it's like, oh shit, I need to update or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And then I have to tell the Steam Deck itself to switch the controls to Xbox controls. Like, if I can just if I have a handheld Xbox and I can just turn it on and just play it without having to switch the controls, turn this on, wait for this to load up, all that jazz. If I could use the Xbox handheld the way I can use the Steam handheld, you just hit the button and hit resume. Just keep it
Yeah.
pushing.
Yeah.
Right? If I can do that, like the Steam Deck can, like the Switch can, then Xbox could be up to something. Because you got to remember, if they're making a handheld like this, they're making it for games with the fidelity like Hellblade, so they can't
Yes.
skimp
Gear
like a
6.
Switch
Yeah.
and a Gear 6 and whatnot. And I highly doubt that they want to make the competitor look better on screen than you can with the Xbox. I just would I would find that wild if I couldn't play Hellblade 2 in 4K, but you could on the PlayStation. I could only get 1080p with Xbox.
Yeah.
I would be like, all right, this I would probably still get the handheld for Xbox just because I like to be able to be around and doing stuff. But that would tell me that I need a PlayStation 100%.
Yeah, I get that. Definitely get that. I like I think I saw Vinny post about this the other day. I could be wrong, but I saw people speculating that oh, if the rumors this past weekend are true, I mean Starfield would run better on PS5 Pro. And then you saw people like, oh, dude, Starfield at 60 FPS on PS5. I'm like, dude,
No.
Starfield ain't hitting 60 FPS on your PS5 Pro. I promise you that. And that's from somebody who's played it on PC, and I have a pretty great PC right now. That's at about 100 FPS.
Yeah, I have a pretty good PC myself, and I'm getting, I'd say, on average, about 70 FPS.
Yes.
And I have a good PC.
Yes, and that PC is better than what the PS5 Pro is going to be. So it's like that you might, hey, if they want to unlock the frame rate, I guess, but you're not hitting that 60 FPS most of the time, probably.
Keep in mind, I say 70, but everything's on max.
Yeah, and that's another thing, because on console that's not on max. I think Digital Foundry talked about it's like medium and high is what it's on console. So I mean, yeah, that's another thing you got to keep in mind too, where people are often talking about, oh, does this mean Hellblade 2 is going to look better on my PS5 Pro? Yeah, maybe, but specifically in the case of Starfield, that shit ain't hitting 60 FPS. So we could stop that. As for myself, talking about this possible hybrid console, uh, Vincent Vega says PC at what resolution though? The fun part is tweaking configs for performance. That's the part you don't have to care about on consoles. Yeah, and I agree with you. But for me on my PC, I think I'm running 1440p max settings. And Ham just said he's doing max settings. I would assume you're on 1440p as well for Starfield. Is that correct?
Say that again?
I would assume when you play Starfield on PC, you're at 1440p.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Because
that's my monitor.
Yeah, that's usually what people seem to be using nowadays on PC is 1440p. I know, like, out of our friend group, our buddy Mike is the only one who plays 4K, and that's because he's got the PC to do that. So like
he also has the TV to do that.
True.
Plugged in, so
yeah,
like my monitor only does 1440, 165, I believe. Hertz.
Shit, that's what mine does. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but like getting back to the hybrid console for me, I'm all in on that. Like I said, that would probably be the console I get. Especially.
So do you see this thing that says "Join us"? February 10th. See that?
The Game Pass thing?
Yeah, the Microsoft. Yeah.
Microsoft Game Pass. Yeah, from Game Pass Tracker was tweeting about that. Yes.
I'm seeing it here from Mooch as well now.
Okay, yeah. I mean, hey dude, we're I think next week is going to be a very I mean, it doesn't take a savant to tell you that next week's going to be very interesting. It's going to play out either really well or really bad for some people, but regardless, it's going to be incredibly interesting. So we will see. But
1 second.
Yeah, take your time. But yeah, definitely hype for a hybrid console from Xbox because, I mean, like Ham said with his Steam Deck, I use my Steam Deck almost daily. I need to use my Switch more, but if I can play Xbox games natively on the go, bring it home, dock it, play it there, and have a good experience, I would be very, very happy with that. I want to ask chat. I know Vincent Vega's here. I saw Hard Days Mike earlier, Nikita Percy, Lady Foxfire. While Ham's gone, asking chat, what are your thoughts about the whole? What do you think takes place next week? I know that's probably a loaded question, probably something too long to answer, and like however many characters you get on YouTube's chat. But I mean, I'm just interested to hear from you guys. What do you think's gonna happen next week? Do you think it's put it this way? Do you think it's the whole slate coming to PlayStation, or do you think it's like I think it's Bethesda and Activision Blizzard games is what's coming to PlayStation. I think that's what's gonna happen, but we'll see. Nikita Percy just says chaos. Yeah, I would. It's going to be a shit show. It's gonna be a wild, wild week next week. Because you look at how people were handling rumors this past week and next week when there's official news. Jesus, it's gonna be a mess. Uh, but I mean, let's see here. Thought I had one more thing
Sorry,
that
my daughter had an early out in school today, and it's just phenomenal. It's great. I'm loving
I. Yeah, man.
it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So, oh yeah, the games. I think we briefly mentioned the games that are rumored this past weekend. Indiana Jones, Starfield, and Gears of War. My thought process, which I just kind of said, is that it's ABK and Bethesda games. I know Gears of War isn't under that umbrella, but I genuinely think that's what's happening here. Do you have a theory, like your own personal theory on what's happening? Like, what games do you think go to PlayStation?
Bethesda, ABK for the most part. Um, in a select few games from like back catalog of Xbox library. But
Okay,
I honestly don't think it's gonna be every game. I don't.
me either.
Because in my opinion, I just feel like Xbox and just like Apple or maybe Google or anything like that, like Apple and Google still have exclusives.
Yeah,
Like even though they're mobile companies, they like you go to like that what is it called? Like Apple TV or whatnot. They got exclusives there,
yeah,
you know? And so I think Microsoft is definitely going to still having exclusives, but on big budget items that they need a return on and they don't exactly want to rely on themselves, I think that will be the stuff to go out.
yeah.
We might see Indiana Jones go to PlayStation.
Yep.
Is what
Yeah,
I'm getting at. But
100%.
what we may not see is Hellblade go.
Yeah,
Just because in my opinion just because maybe that is like Xbox's like maybe technical masterpiece that they want to keep to themselves and be like, hey, this is the output that we can put out for you guys and a great game that we can put out. But then again, I could be completely wrong. They could put Hellblade on there as well. I don't think that would be the best. Something has to give, in my opinion. Something has to give.
yeah.
And I think there's gonna be a few games that for sure just flat out won't make it to PlayStation.
And I agree with that.
And on top of that, you got to think about the dev teams as well too. Sure, they may be getting more PlayStation consoles to be able to have dev kits on and work on and whatnot, but I'm thinking about like how long it would. You're now making a game take longer if you're putting all of the games on the PC. I'm not on the PC, but onto PlayStation. Now the
Yeah.
devs are working extra hard because they have to port something to a whole nother system that doesn't work anything like Xbox.
Yeah.
So I'm like I said at the beginning of the show, pulled so many damn different directions. I don't know exactly what to think or what to trust.
Yeah.
I'm just having all of these thoughts and ideas, and it's almost to a detriment to like the point where some of it's feeling like it's not really making sense.
Oh yeah. I would agree. And you said it earlier in the show, like the whole slate confusing was the word you used. And I agree with that. It wouldn't make any sense to me. That would be a very confusing move. And I agree with what you're saying there also. And I'm glad you brought up Hellblade. I think a game like Hellblade needs to be exclusive, because it's been this thing that's touted as like this technical masterpiece, where it's like if you release your technical masterpiece on a PS5 Pro and it runs fast, well, not so much faster, or looks better, or runs faster, better performance on the PS5 Pro than on your first party console, that's not good. That's not like a game specifically like Hellblade. Also, a game specifically like Gears of War 6. That's something you want looking the best on your console. And if PlayStation's going to have a pro console, the only way to do that is to not release it on PlayStation. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I also feel like, a game like Hellblade, relatively smaller budget, kind of like what you were hinting at there, doesn't make sense to force it onto PlayStation. Especially when Ninja Theory also has, they people forget they also have another game in development, Project Mara, where it's
Right.
like, are you gonna take time away from Project Mara to port Hellblade 2 to PlayStation after they just went through the whole dev process for Xbox and PC? I mean, that's a lot of time and money. We'll see. But I think it's ABK. I think it's Bethesda. I mean, we saw the whole leaks from the FTC court documents and everything, where Pete Hines, who was at Bethesda at the time, was pretty upset with the messaging that Phil Spencer and Xbox was using about how, oh, if we get ABK, then don't worry, guys, everything will still be third party. And Pete Hines was like, well, if they get to be third party, why the hell don't we get to be third party? And I know Pete Hines isn't there anymore, but if Pete Hines was leadership at the company, I would assume a lot of people who were under him probably felt the same way. And, maybe they don't want to be entirely on Xbox and PC. In which case, I could totally see that being the case and those games coming to everything. But I really don't think, like Ham said, I don't think it's going to be the whole slate. Because that would be the most confusing thing you could possibly do, honestly. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I keep saying it, but it's going to be very interesting. Nikita Percy says, I think overall Microsoft is doing a hostile takeover of the brand. They even naming Game Pass Microsoft Game Pass. Why not just Game Pass? And I'm glad you said that. And I see everybody else in the chat. I'm gonna get to you guys as well. But to that point, I would definitely agree. Because this doesn't seem like something that would come from Phil. I mean, who knows? Maybe it did, but it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like a move that Phil would do. It also doesn't seem like something that Sarah Bond would push for. This seems like a move straight from the desk of Satya Nadella. And if that's the case, then it is what it is. He's the head dude. You gotta play ball or leave. That's really your option there. So it sucks if that's the case, but I mean, this seems like a Microsoft interfering with Xbox kind of thing. Back from the Dead says the only way I see whole slate going is if they forget Red Ring in 2013. They've talked about how the ABK show was later, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's all it was. Vincent Vegas says, if I remember the talk around Blade on Twitter, it would be funny to see these motherfuckers cut down a tier. Yeah, here's the thing. I was one of the people on. I think I even made a video. Like I fully expect Blade to be exclusive. I'll tell you what. If Indiana Jones is coming to PlayStation 5, then you can sure as hell bet your ass that Blade's coming to PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 6, whatever the hell we're on at that point. But yeah, I think that kind of goes without saying. I would be very wrong on in that case if that turns out to be true. But yeah, I mean, it's just so it's a weird time. It's a weird time. But we will see what happens. I want to say there was one more thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm trying to find it here in my bookmarks, but god damn, I cannot find it. Let's see. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention something I brought up on your show yesterday. What do you think
What
about
was that?
the possibility that Microsoft is looking? I say Microsoft, not Xbox, very specifically. That Microsoft is looking at this whole situation as if Game Pass is the exclusive. Because if they bring whole, I say that because if they bring whole slate to PlayStation, then you're saying, okay, those games go to PlayStation, but the thing that you get with our by staying with Xbox is Game Pass. That's the exclusive. Do you think that has, if that's their thought process, do you think that has the power they think it has?
No,
No. And I would agree with you on that.
a wholeheartedly no.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that is your exclusive and that is your thing, then people are looking at it like I'm paying. I'm playing what I can in Game Pass as it is, and if I'm a casual person, I'm looking at it like maybe I'll give it a try for a couple months, but I'm not gonna like dive into it for a whole year because I probably only want one or two or three games or something like that. And if this is something that's only accessible if I have a Xbox platform, but I can get all the games over on PlayStation without the subscription service, it kind of makes that subscription service like almost like a like you know how you go to the store and you get like like let's say hamburger helper, right?
Yeah.
And then right next to it is the great value version. That's what it would kind of seem like.
Mm.
Is like the
Yeah.
great value version. I don't really have any of these. And if I kill my subscription, we'll hold on a second because like the whole thing to me is that you have to buy into a whole new console
Yeah.
then to have your only exclusive be something that they're getting as well. You just get access to it at a cheaper price. I just don't see how that would really move the needle in your direction any better than it currently has. I already think that they're already doing that value right now.
Yeah.
The only thing is these games aren't going to another platform. If you're not crazy successful with it right now, putting games on another platform and still advertising the exact same thing won't boost your sales.
No. I'm glad you bring that up. I'm
It's
glad you bring that up.
it's literally the exact same thing that they're doing right now, except they don't give the exclusives to other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
If what you're describing to me is that maybe I'm reading into it wrong or how you described it wrong, but what you're telling me is Game Pass is the exclusive. Well, Game Pass is already
The exclusive.
what you're telling me it's going to be. The only difference here is PlayStation now has these exclusives. And I ask you back the question now, how does that move a needle?
And that's something I definitely don't have the answer to because I don't think it does.
The only
I
thing I could see moving the needle for it is if you really push those exclusives that are going to be going to PlayStation off by like a year.
yeah. Oh,
Like
there has to be some timed exclusivity. There
there would
has to
have
be.
to be like The exclusivity is Game Pass, sure. It's coming to PlayStation, but not for a year.
Mhm.
That would be a benefit, but then also I feel like you would have to add benefit to like something to the game to make it be like you only get this here on Xbox. Just like what PlayStation did with Hogwarts, where it was like you get this one extra quest
Yeah.
on PlayStation. That's what I'd expect from Xbox. You get that one extra quest, or you get that, few extra, things, or extra, what is it called, skins or whatever, if you play on Xbox. But it's just, if you want to play it on PlayStation, you get the, grade vanilla version.
Yeah.
But if you want to play the Kingpin version, then come to Xbox. That could be really the only difference I could see that could make Xbox kind of shine in this situation, is if they're like, hey, yeah, you guys can have games, you guys just can't have the definitive edition of the game.
Yeah. I I feel like if this is their goal, if that is their plan, you have to do something like I remember how when Gears 5 Hive Busters came out, the DLC was part of Game Pass. Like you're gonna need for Elder Scrolls 6, you would need those DLCs to be in Game Pass. Uh, and Nikita Percy says, "I'm not Doctor Doom and Gloom, but potentially there's going to be a mass exodus." And I would again, that's something I would also agree with. I mean, it's just like if their plan is Game Pass is the exclusive for Xbox going forward, then that's basically them saying, okay, I don't know how many consoles they've sold to this point. I haven't really been keeping up with their things. But I think it's like 25, 30 something million. Then you're basically saying, okay, we're fine with selling 40 million or less consoles for for the rest of time, pretty much. If your whole thought process is okay, the Game Pass is the exclusive, but you have to have something. You just have to have like the DLCs for these games, any extra content that you might be doing or whatever for those games has to be in Game Pass to make that like like a viable thing for somebody who's outside looking in at the Xbox platform. Because the people who are on the Xbox platform, like myself, like a bunch of other people, I'm here. It's where I'm at. But like somebody outside looking in after a move like this is looking at you guys like, dude, what am I hopping over there for? What's the reason? Because you're not giving them a very good one. Vincent Vega says Blade sounded next gen, but 3 years ago into this gen, it would seem that if we get pro consoles, this gen would go on for at least another 3 to 4 years. That's something that that's something that confuses me, quite frankly. I don't know why we need. This is a quick little tangent. I don't know why we need pro consoles. Like I got it last generation. It made sense last generation because the consoles they came out just weak. They were bad. Like even the whole thing with PS4, the base PS4, where they were like advertising 1080p as like a main selling point, it was still a bad console. Xbox One was a worse console. It made sense to have those things, but this generation, it just it's not necessary this generation because there's no upgrade. Like in Vincent Vega, you just said it, PS4 Pro was needed because 4K TV became mainstream. What's become mainstream this generation? Like I mean, 4K TVs are still the mainstream. You're not getting you're certainly not pushing 8K, and if you are, you're lying. So and also be a waste of money. So why do it? I mean, again, at the end of the day, PlayStation can do whatever the hell they want. I don't think Xbox is doing one. I feel like we would have heard pretty big rumors about it at this point if they were doing one. For 4K 60 GTA 6, dude, if you make a pro console that can run GTA 6, and I said the same thing about Starfield. Like a pro console to run GTA 6 or Starfield or whatever big, massive, stupid game, like you would have to fundamentally change. Like, because the thing with PlayStation, or not PlayStation, but the Xbox One X versus the Xbox One was like 8 cores, both of them 8 cores, no super huge difference outside of the GPU was a massive difference. And the GPU isn't going to take you in a CPU heavy game, which like I'm sure that GTA is going to be. I know Starfield is. That's not going to take you from 4K 30 to 4K 60. Vincent Vega also says yes, but it's like with PC, it's all about upscalers, new GPU tech. It's like again, but on the GPU side. I mean, that upscaler, like for example, with I'm glad you brought it up. AMD's APUs with the FSR3, like frame generation or whatever AMD calls it, like fluid frames or something like that. Like that's all GPU stuff. Like that can add frames to your game, but if your base frame rate, like if you're getting 30 FPS but you're generating 60, that's not going to feel like 60. It's not going to be good. But then again, you might have a point whereas console people who play entirely on console might not know or might not even care enough to really be bothered by it. So, hey, maybe you're 100% right and that's totally the case. We will see. I just think it's silly to be talking about pro consoles right now at this point, but hey, the companies will do what they do. That was just a quick little tangent. But yeah, I mean, Ham, anything you want to add to the whole doom and gloom to Xbox, the possible rumors of next gen 2026. I mean, games coming to PS5. I mean, is there anything you want to add to the talking points today?
No, not really, because like I said, it's all speculation and it's no facts. So
Yes.
like I understand us having this space today to talk about it because you got a show every Wednesday, so you got to come with something,
Yes.
right? But I mean, we've been here for what is it, like a little over an hour,
Yep.
and I mean, honestly, I feel like we speculated our way to to the at least the end of this topic because
Yes.
I don't really have. I'm in a point where I don't really like. Sure, I got other shows I got to do this week, so speculation will continue. But I feel like I'm gonna be kind of on repeat
Yeah.
until and like until I get any word. I'm just not gonna speculate myself into fucking depression. That's not what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And I'm also not gonna act like because the one thing that Xbox didn't say, and the thing that I think everybody's blowing out of proportion is that they're out of business. Like Sega, when Sega did what Sega did, I felt like they were more or less like we're just done with consoles. Like it's not happening. Consoles are not happening anymore. This one with Xbox, I'm hearing, yeah, we're gonna have consoles, but we're just gonna share some of our games too.
Mm-hmm.
And if I know Microsoft, they don't want to just give you software if they don't. I'm sure they want to give you software because that's where they make the most bread. But just like most companies that give software, they also want you to be on their hardware as well. Just so you're part of the whole ecosystem. And that's the whole thing Xbox has been, clamoring to is this whole ecosystem thing. So they have to be part of the hardware space in some aspects. So I don't think they're leaving at all, but they're maybe taking a step to a side, whether it's left or right, good or bad. That's very uncharted territory, and I don't even know where to go with it.
Yeah. And and the good news is, or hopefully the good news is that by the time this show happens next week, probably we'll have heard from whoever from Microsoft, whoever it may be, about this whole business update, and we can actually have, thoughtful, rational discussion about the topics that they talked about in a pretty good show next week. So looking forward to that. But as for now, I think we can hop up out of here because, like Ham said, we don't want to speculate ourselves into a spiral. So we're gonna hop up out of here. Ham, let them know where they can find you, what you're up to, and everything.
Yeah, you can find me here every Wednesday. You can find me on K Magus channel as well every Friday and every other Monday. But for the most part, where you can find Ham Solo doing this podcast on his own channel, that would be TSWS Gaming. That's where I do. That's where I have all of my original takes and stuff like that. I have two shows with Loke a week. Being Bull Sitting's one of them. The panel show with me, you, Loke, and Cozy, and a guest usually, and then the lowdown every Tuesday with Loke. And Behind Them Sticks every Thursday, and then on Mondays, as I was saying, it's on K Mega's channel one week, and then on my channel the next week. It's the crossover podcast. So that's where you guys can find me, and then of course on Twitter at HamSolo05Gaming. I am not leaving Xbox or anything like that. I'm not doing no crazy Exodus bullshit. I am here until the wheels fall off. I just don't know. I'm here until, I shouldn't say until the wheels fall off. I'm here until my collection falls off.
Yeah. I'm 100% with you on that. I'm not going anywhere. Still on Xbox, still on PC. That's what it's gonna be. That's the way it is. Thank you all for stopping by in the chat. Ham was mentioning his channel. Link in the description. Check out TSWS Gaming. Lots and lots of content over there. Pretty much every single week. There's tons of stuff to check out. Definitely worth checking out. As for myself, here every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern for the Two Player Podcast. Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern for the L3R3 podcast with myself, Hard Days Mike, and it's me, Twan. And then Mondays and Fridays for videos here on the channel. Check those out as well. And you can find me on Twitter at MattLikesGames. And that's where you can find me. So thank you all for stopping by. We'll see you next. What's that?
Jez just said, just to put the fire out before everyone starts screaming, I am told GameStop just came up with Microsoft Game Pass themselves. The brand is still Xbox Game Pass, PC Game Pass, with no plan changing right now.
Hey, yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, it's
That's what I'm saying. Like, so much speculation right now that I'm just like, that it's just like a waste of time. Just like to freak out or like get all bent out of shape. Like, fuck it. I'm waiting for the official word.
How funny is that GameStop can just post a typo and everyone spirals? Everyone spirals into complete madness.
Well, right now right now, if you're being honest, it's kind of the thing to do.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because if you want to get noticed, make Xbox look a little weird. Everyone's gonna be like, "They did it! It's approved."
Oh my god! But yeah, see, we got to get out of here. We'll see y'all next week. Thank you all for watching. Peace.